Hi, I guess I'm filming. I think I am. I'm here at the ocean. And there's the railroad tracks are behind me, and it's a really beautiful area. I'm gonna go for a little walk here along the beach and videotape. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my life. Um, I'm not sure really how far back to go right now. I'm thinking I'll start out with my upbringing a little bit. Uh, so I was raised moving around a lot up to about the second grade of school, and I moved around a lot and with my family before the second grade. And then so kindergarten, first grade, I was in a couple different schools, and then after that we settled in a little town up Northern California area, a little sawmill town, and we lived out in the country about 5 miles out of this little sawmill town. And my parents decided to, well, my father always wanted to, do homes. He wanted to have like a homestead, a ranch, and so, and he wanted to, live sustainable. He had a huge garden. It seems like, he was ready in case something was going to happen in the world, and whether it be war or something else. His belief was that war was going to be happening any day, and that we needed to get prepared. So we settled in the little town, or outside of this little town in Northern California, and near Redding, California, up in the mountains, a wilderness area. I spent many days just with my sisters and brothers. I have 2 older sisters, 2 younger brothers, playing outside, and our yard was the wilderness. It just went on, and it was really a beautiful place to grow up. We had a river that wasn't too far away that my father dammed up and cut down the willow branches so that we could have a beach area where there was willow tree or willow branches everywhere. And we had that near our house, and we would go there on hot summer days after school, and I just couldn't wait to get out of school. I would sit there in my desk, my hard chair, and I would look up at the clock, and I'd look out the window, and I would look up at the clock, and I'd look out the window, and you probably know, maybe this happened to you in school, but so as far as my studying, doing good in my grades, there was a lot of stuff going on at home. So, as far as my parents, would argue and some of the time, and my dad would drink too much some of the time, and a lot of feuding going on there. So that's was hard on all of my sisters and brothers and I. It was pretty hard. I want to show you these flowers right here. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. Oh, okay. They're right along the railroad tracks. So, but yeah, it was hard on us a bit. But we lived in this little town for like 6 years of my childhood life, from second grade up to uh, uh, part of my 6th grade. But we had left and came back after my parents separated and divorced when I was in the 5th grade. And so when I was in the 5th grade, my mother took us to San Jose, all 5 of us kids, one night. She had finally had enough, loaded the car full of stuff. And she said, grab a brown bag and just put some stuff in it, and let's, whatever you can, some clothes, and let's load the trunk really quick and go before your father comes home from the bar, and he would go to the bar and drink too much and then come back sometimes. Most of the time he was a very humble, loving man, and he loved us all very much, but there were times that he would he had a lot of just from his upbringing, what had happened to him. He had a lot of just burdens, weighing him down. And so, but he really wanted everything to be really good for the family, and it to be like, he wanted the homestead, he wanted Mom to can food, and she would try to do that, but she really wasn't much into wanting to do the things that he wanted to do. She wanted to just, go and explore the world, and she was tied down with 5 kids and a father, that her husband, that was being very dominant over her. But back then, there was a lot of that going on with the husbands and wives. I don't think it's as much these days, probably, now that it's more out in the open, and women and men are realizing, that that's just not okay. So my father got animals. He got Shetland ponies. He got one Shetland pony, and then she had a colt. Her name was Lady. And then there was, it's kind of windy up there, Lady, and then she had another colt, and then we named it Coco. So we had Lady, the mare, Shetland pony, and then we had 2 colts that were male, so from her, and we used to ride them around. We would ride Lady around. She was a really stubborn Shetland pony, but we'd hop on her, and bring her away from the house was hard, because she didn't want to go away from the house. But once you turned her around, you got on her quickly, because she took off quickly towards the house, galloping as fast as her little short legs could go. So, and she didn't really much like that. So she would give me look at me into my eyes as I'm trying to pull the reins that way and that way, and keep her so she's not swiping me off on tree branches, and and old fence posts. Well, anyways, maybe you don't know, but yeah, we had chickens, goats, and we had rabbits and ducks at one time. Let's see what else. Oh, we had a donkey named Buttermilk that we would try to ride, and she wouldn't move. We'd get on her, but she'd just stand there stiff and wouldn't move. But she'd stick her head through the screen window, and she would wake us up in the morning. The screen window that was ripped on our house. Anyways, a lot of the times we always lived in homes that needed repairs. Some were really nice, but wherever we lived. But but there was a ripped screen in the window in the kitchen. So she would come in. Buttermilk would come. She would come to the ripped screen, stick her head in it in the morning from outside, and she would ee-haw through the house and wake us all up. She'd go, oh, 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 or something like that. You can, like, so loud, and we'd all laugh and give her a treat through the screen window, or, but anyways, let's see, yeah, school there was not all, there's the ocean behind me, was not all that great, because a lot of times I would just go to school and I couldn't really understand what the teacher was saying a lot of the time. I think because of my home life, I was mostly just like tired a lot of the time, and just traumatized too, from sometimes my dad would act up and my mom, and they'd like yell and everything. But, but that was something that happened towards the end of my mother and father's marriage, before my mother broke up. It just, started becoming more and more of a challenge for both of them, and they needed support. They really needed a lot of support, maybe a community of people or a village of people that could be there and help them and help their kids, like the way it is, for communities or the Native American people. A lot of different tribes did that back then. But yeah, so I was there through my 5th grade. My parents broke up, and then we ended up moving to, leaving that night. My mother said, put all your things into a bag and whatever you can fit. And we all got into the car quickly and drove away before he came back from the bar. Excuse me. And so we drove and drove. I asked my mother, I said, Mom, where are we going? And she said that not to worry. She said that everything will be okay. So we drove to my Aunt Kathy's, and we stayed there for a while, and they put us kids, my mother put us in school there while we were staying at my Aunt Kathy's, which, everything that we'd been through when my parents split up, we really didn't belong in school. We needed counseling. We needed people to understand what we were going through, as kids. And my sisters and brothers and my mother. But we went to school, and when I went to school in Watsonville, California, it was a school that was in a neighborhood of Hispanic people. So there were no white kids. I was like the only towhead white that I can remember child in my class and out on recess. And so I would just like sit by myself, try to maybe see if I can make a friend, but they always would go away, and they didn't want to be friends with me, which I can understand. They speak Spanish, and and they see someone that looks different. Children, they just don't really know how to understand that and do what's right. But yeah, we were in that school for a while, staying at my Aunt Kathy's, and then we ended up going to San Jose, California, and my mother brought us to a neighborhood that was full of, it was in a bad neighborhood, and we rented an apartment there, and she put us into the school there, and it was a big school and long ways to get to school and on the bus, and that experience lasted about 6 months of my childhood life, and I was in the 6th grade by the time we got there. So I went to school there, and I hated it. The only thing I liked was being in track and doing pull-ups. I was really good at doing pull-ups, and the kids would gather around because I've got my dad's strong, mostly Irish man muscles in my arms. So, and I won the silver award after everything that I'd been through, and with the separation and everything. I always tried really hard to do as good as I could in school, and just always thinking that if I keep doing good, things will get better. If I keep working hard, things will get better. So, whether it be school or work, I tried my hardest, but things never seemed to get better. And, that was because of what my father was dealing with. So there were some really beautiful times too, though, when not in San Jose, but my sister, my older sister, managed. She needed to get us out of there, she thought, so she managed to somehow get in touch with my dad, and he came to San Jose, and he came and he picked us up, all of us, and took us with him. And we went back to the little town that we lived in, Northern California, the same place. But things were different. He sold all the animals or gave them away, and the house looked totally different inside. So we tried it in the school there. I tried it there through part of my 6th grade, but my friends, I lost all my friends. I had to make some new friends, and it's just like, when a child goes through so much, to me, when I think about it, it's almost like there's a glass wall in between you and the world. If that is, I guess that's how I could describe it. Like there's a glass that's like fogged up, and you try to break through it, or almost like that it's there, it's just there. So anyhow, yeah, so I went to school, and there in San Jose, and the neighborhood was awful. It was just Hispanic kids, and trying to 5 towhead kids, My mother got into partying, and she left us, and we were all trying to literally survive, And so, we ended up, all of us, tried, just kind of got into trouble, and some of us, and just, stole so we could eat food, and got into trouble with the law, and, my older sisters were found boyfriends at 12 and 13, I think they were, because I was, yeah. And it was really weird. It was just really not a good situation for us. So then my dad came, my sister found my dad. I know I'm jumping forward and moving back when I tell stories. I tend to do that. I hope you can keep up with, understand what I'm saying. So, and I don't even know if this is a videotaping. I think it is. But anyhow, my dad found us, came and got us all, my sisters and brothers and I. Brought us a hay fork. We tried it there, but like I said, it wasn't the same. It was just not the same. And we ended up, he saw that we weren't um, it was that it was too much for us in school. So he said this. He says, "Kids, we're gonna go to the mountains, and we're gonna be the wilderness family." So one day we just loaded up all of our stuff in the back of an old Chevy truck that my dad would build campers on out of wood and put all his kids in the back when we would travel. So that he did that, and we put our things in there and a bunch of stuff on top, and down the road we went. We went to the mountains, and we went gold mining. Put us to work gold mining, and it was hard work, but I learned about hard work at a very young age. It was gold mining, scrapping, hauling wood, or soapstone, making Christmas wreaths, planters with ferns. We did a lot of things to try to make money to survive, and so we ended up. We were there in the mountains, and we'd also go to Reno when it got too cold. When it got too cold, we'd go to Reno, Nevada, and he put us all to work in the casinos. And then when it got warm enough, we would go back to the mountains. But we'd try to stay in the mountains for as long as we could, until we could endure the coldness, and it became too much. We would drop down sometimes to warmer elevations for a while. But so we went to Reno. My dad somehow got money together to get a little dinky little trailer, and we put it in a trailer park, and we lived in a little trailer park, and he put us all to work in Reno. I started out bussing tables, or washing dishes, bussing tables, hostess, and then waitress. And my two older sisters were waitressing. And my younger brother, David, which was only, I was 11, so he was, or 12, I think I was, or no, I was 13 by the time we went to Reno and started working there. So he would have been 11, or he would have been 10. So he started out working there, because he's 2 years younger than I am. He started working there when doing backup chef work, cutting up the foods and all of that. He started doing that at that age. And I don't know how he got his work permits. I really don't know how he did that. Because it was against the law. But it was... So, but he did it. And so we were there, and then we go to the mountains, gold mine, and we would hike way back in. First we would drive in, right, on the bumpy roads, winding bumpy roads, way back in there. Everything loaded up, dust flying everywhere, caked on your face, just breathing in the exhaust from the old truck. We'd drive way back in there on the winding roads, and then finally we would find a place to pull over, or a little campground that was way back in there. And they were free back then to camp. And then we would hike. We would park, and then the next day we would wake up very early, load up our mining gear, and hike down to the river and gold mine for the day. And we also would hike way back in and just bring our bedding and whatever we would haul back in there from the truck, and we would hike way back in there and and stay for like a couple of days or a few days, and just stay back in there, and we would try to find land to live on, and we would gold mine. And So my dad wanted to stake a claim, and we were looking for property where he wanted to stake a claim at and build a house and fulfill his dreams with all of his children. He had big dreams. They were beautiful, big dreams. But it's too bad he didn't, get the help that he needed. And so, but the experience gold mining it was hard work, but it was also such a beautiful experience in the beginning for a while. It was really beautiful. We were, as a family, bonding together and swimming in the rivers mostly, not really gold mining all that much. And my connection to the rivers and the water is I still have a really deep connection to the rivers. Today I love going there and just gold mining and spending time there and swimming in the water, because my dad would say, "You swim like a fish, Kathy." And everybody would go, "Yeah, Kathy swims like a fish." All my sisters and brothers would say that too, because I would swim under the water and hold my breath for a long time, and my dad would do the same thing. And then I would try to swim with the fish and just float under there real still, So I don't know if you know that experience, but if you don't, it's a beautiful connection to nature. And the rivers is just really something else. So, but anyways, I don't know if you can hear me, the wind's blowing a little bit. I'll try to talk a little louder here. So we were there and camped and living, gold mining and working in the casinos until I was I started at age 11 up to almost 18. So that's where I spent with my family. The majority of my time was doing those things. My father did put me in the 8th grade for a short while, probably 3 or 4 months, and our 7th grade for about 4 months maybe, 8th grade for about, if I think about it now, about maybe 4 months I think. And then so I went to the 8th grade in 2 different schools, and then 6th grade was half of my school in San Jose, or 6 months of my schooling in San Jose, and then tried Hayfork again, and then left and went to the wilderness. But so the schools that he would put me in, I always tried really hard for the time that we were there, and for their 7th, 8th, or what was it? Yeah, 7th and 8th grade. And then things wouldn't work out, and so, with our family in the area there, it just seemed like my sisters and brother, or we were all just struggling after everything we'd been through, and the divorce, and just the weight of the world upon my dad, trying to figure out what to do with all of this, and no help from anyone. But he had his own tree service business, and he did that for a lot of years. And so and then we would do the living in the wilderness for all those years, and it was a beautiful experience most of the time. Towards the end, it started getting harder and harder, and then my father realized that we weren't happy, and then that's when it became harder for him to deal with it. And so then one day my oldest sister, ran away with a friend of hers and moved with a friend of hers and got away from my dad. And so my sister and I, my 2 younger brothers, were all left with my father. And So he was really upset about that. He wanted to keep the family together, and you know, he saw that if we were to break up, you know, that maybe he could see, like, you know, what was going to happen after everything we'd been through, you know, and go out into the world. So, but anyway, she got away, and she moved up to Tahoe with a friend, and then my sister and I tried to take over. My older sister, usually she did all the cooking, she did everything, and my younger sister and I would help. We would help her cook, you know, and help her clean, and we would do all the cleaning and cooking in the trailer, and my dad would bring home venison for us to clean and chop up, and you know, we ate a lot of stuff like berries and, you know, off the land. And but Callie learned from a Betty Crocker book that she had. My oldest sister learned from a Betty Crocker's book how to cook delicious meals, and we ate really good because of her. And she literally tried her hardest, you know, with my dad to play the role of my mother, basically, and be there for us kids. And she wanted to do that. She wanted to be there, you know, for us and make it better, because Mom just left us and in San Jose. And it's amazing what she did for all of us, you know. And so then yeah, she did all those things, and my sister Terry and I would help her, and we'd take care of our younger brothers. And they were like, my youngest brother was like my baby, you know, and because he was the youngest, so and Mom wasn't there. And I'm just gonna sit on this. So we did that a while for my dad, after my sister left, and then eventually my other sister managed to get away, and then I followed my other sister, and we all lived together in Lake Tahoe, and we were just working in the clubs, waitressing, and because that's what we'd learned, what kind of work we learned. And then my two brothers lived with my dad, and so that's the first part of my life story. And I think the next video I'd like to share with you my current life here, you know, what I've been doing, how I've been surviving, and I'll share with you my journey, actually my journey of self-discovery after raising 3 children, and you know, and now that my nest is empty, what do I put in it? You know, I'm figuring out ways to focus on me more and fulfill things that I've always wanted to fulfill, whether it be creative, you know, or yoga, just different things I'm checking out. So it's been really interesting, and I'd like you to come along with me and explore how I've been getting through it, you know, after my children flew away from the nest. Well, but I still see them, but it's not like it used to be. But that's okay. That's part of life. That's part of now they have to live. They're living their life now, and that's what they need. So the next and for me too. They want to see me also living my life and fulfilling the things that I enjoy, working on my health too. So my next video I will be talking about my second part of my life, and it was nice telling you about my story today, and I'm looking forward to new adventures in my life with you, and sharing my journey along the way. So I will talk to you later, and have a beautiful day.